Hello and welcome to our fifth Conversation to Connect. Let's get real, powered by Exceptional Connections. I'm CyndiONeill-Dady, the founder and chief connector at Exceptional Connections since 2009. At Exceptional Connections, we offer intentional and innovative networking and solutions to boost your business. Each week, I nominate a different member of our Exceptional Connections community to have a meaningful conversation with. So be sure to make yourself comfortable, grab yourself a tea or your favorite beverage, and settle in, take notes, and we'll be at about the 45-minute to 1 hour mark. I'll unmute the lines and we'll go ahead and open it up to Q&A. You can be able to share your ahas, epiphanies, and enter into this thought-provoking conversation. So the inspiration of our weekly Conversations to Connect, Let's Get Real talks is to create purposeful conversations. We desire to be relevant during these challenging and uncertain times and to support our community to make an impact in the world and stay connected. Our Conversation to Connect this week is with the virtual trainer, speaker, information product creator, wise and witty wordsmith, Nancy Juetten from Bellingham, Washington. Say hi, Nancy.
Hi, everyone.
So our topic today, as you can see from the background that Nancy has behind her, is it time to dare, D.A.R.E, to reinvent or shift to meet new needs through your business? So before I bring Nancy on with us, it is my pleasure to share some background about Nancy and her journey. Nancy Juetten is no stranger to pivoting and preparing to prosper during challenging times. I'm an English major and I love those alliteration there. When the Great Recession hit, her public relations firm crashed. Ouch. She was forced to find a new way to serve so she had enough money to pay the mortgage. She created her popular book, Bye Bye Boring Bio, on a dare from a friend. Wow, I love that. That book saved her bacon when she was really needing to bring it home and became the foundation for a successful online business that grew despite her discomfort with technology. Never know that now, Nancy. When real life hit the fan for close friends and her family in 2018, she and her husband, Steve, created Life Goes On roadmap system for personal financial information. It helps families escape the drama, trauma, and chaos of finding crucial documents and personal financial information at the worst possible times, like now, right? Guiding entrepreneurs and families to prepare for opportunities has been a common theme throughout Nancy's career. She's the first to say that challenging times can be the catalyst to step into your finest hour of service if you can just shift your mindset and get to work. So it's my pleasure to be able to turn the call over and introduce Nancy Juetten. Take it away, Nancy.
Well, thanks so much for having me. And Chuck, thank you so much for showing your copy of Bye Bye Boring Bio. That makes me so happy.
Oh, I wondered what he was flashing there.
Show it up again. You know, can I just start with a story here?
Absolutely.
Because let's just do a show of hands. Is there anybody here that isn't sure what they're going to do next or is trying to figure something out?
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
You know,
So just for fun, let's just go back to the Great Recession. We bought a brand new house. We couldn't sell the one we left. We had 2 big mortgages, and within weeks of us moving into the new house, my public relations firm, which had been generating lots and lots of money, came to a screeching halt. And being someone who cares about what other people think about me, I was thinking to myself, how could we move into this new house and then weeks later have to put a for sale sign up because we couldn't afford to pay the mortgage? I think it was like this fear of embarrassment, public humiliation or whatever. It was like, it caused me to find this whole new gear. I've got to figure something out because I love this house. I love this neighborhood. I've got to find a way to meet a new need. And I was talking to one of our guests, Maria, who helps midlife women create joyful careers that make them happy in their finest hour. And I was thinking, you know, that was sort of what I was sort of realizing back then with the Great Recession, is that so many people were shown the door from their corporate jobs. They quickly needed to find a way to hang out their shingle to attract consulting gigs or whatever. And this friend said, I dare you to write a book on how to write a better bio. And because I didn't have anything better to do, I did. And without worrying about how to do it, I just took one step right after the other, and I wrote this book, and it turned into a gold mine for me. Because what was the lesson in it? I solved a problem that was urgently felt, that was affordably priced, that people could access and use to create a result that they wanted, which was to attract clients, speaking gigs, or media interviews. And what do you know? People still tell me 10 years later that when they changed course in their career, they still use that book to revisit their life and pivot in a new direction. And the fact that Chuck is showing his book, I think it must have been 10 years ago that you bought it, right? He's nodding yes.
Muted.
I bought it, yeah, when you had put it out there and had given a presentation on it, and I bought it, and I don't know, it had to be 10 years ago.
Yeah, and people tell me that all the time. So one of the things that I'm proud of is that, you know, they say information products, you know, some people say they're dead, but quality information products last the test of time. And that's been my gig all along, is create items, products, services of lasting value. And so I just wanted to share that Bye Bye Boring Bio example, because we didn't have to sell the house. We were able to stay there, was able to create a multiple six-figure business based on helping people get known and get paid. And what a relief that was, because when you're feeling the pain of how am I going to pay the mortgage, how am I going to pay for the groceries, how am I going to be able to pay the rent, I mean, that's really scary. And I really understand what that feels like, because I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and lived to tell the tale. So what big problems are you noticing in your communities where people are sharing their challenges? And is there anything that they're sharing that you have the answer to? Because if you can offer that up as a solution, you just might find your way to navigate something challenging like what we find ourselves dealing with right now.
Yes, I love that. And that's a perfect segue, Nancy, to, you know, because you shared that on a D.A.R.E, right? On a D.A.R.E, you wrote that book and the difference it made in your life. And so today we're going to be talking about, so our topic is, where is our topic here? Is it time to dare to reinvent or shift to meet new needs through your business? So you have that background in the back. So do you want to start by really, yeah, do you want to start by just, you know, kind of giving the D.A.R.E, and, you know, fleshing out that D.A.R.E word?
Sure, I'd be happy to. And I'm just going to step to the side for a minute so you can see it. D.A.R.E stands for D, decide. Decide that you're going to do something specific, terrific, unique in service that is yours to give. A means ask, amplify, and aim high in whatever it is that you do. R means resist the temptation to quit. And E means execute, because if you don't do anything, nothing will happen. And when my friend dared me to write this book, I mean, it was so funny. It was such a prophetic moment. I dare you. I double dare you. And I'm thinking, oh, okay. And I didn't even realize it was years later when I decided to create an acronym out of it, because it was really a prophetic moment in my life. And I think every single time that some life hits the fan, you have to make a decision, like, what am I going to do about it? And you can wallow for a while, and you can have the ugly cry, and you can check yourself into pity party hotel for a period of time if that's what's required. But then you just have to, like, get on with it. And what I've discovered is that once you let yourself have the ugly cry and check yourself into pity party hotel and have the crocodile tears. And listen, I've had plenty of those. Usually there's a breakthrough after the breakdown. And so I've been married to my husband for 32 years. We're very good together. But when I start to be a donkey on the edge, like I think to myself, make a note, big breakthrough is coming.
We have to do that though, don't you think? We have to, kind of pat ourselves on the back, kick ourselves in the rear, give ourselves permission to be able to feel what's there and let it go. And I heard something recently that's really helped me, and it's about flow. So, it's okay to feel what we feel, just don't let it get stuck, right? Just give it permission to flow through you. And, as things are evolving here, we don't know what's going to be happening really in the next 30, 60, 90 days. So how would you, with the conversation that we're having today about being real and reinventing, shifting our needs, how would you share with others is a good place to kind of like balance and center yourself as we go through these changing times?
Well, I can only share what I do from my own experience. And as a deeply empathetic person who feels things very deeply, I will confess that I'm having to build a moat around myself with regard to how much news media I'm willing to watch. Because if I spend a lot of time watching the news media, I get very scared and very afraid, and a feeling of disempowerment comes over me that doesn't serve me in any good way. And so I've allowed myself one check-in with the news every day, and beyond that, I'm trying to build a moat around myself. And another thing that I'm doing, which is a reference to a book I've read 1,000,000 times. I don't know if you can see it, but it's The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. And you can't see it because I've got this silly background up, but you know what I think I'll do? I think I'm going to just take that background away just for now so we can see each other better. This is my book. But notice how many tabs and how much coffee has been spilled on it. And one of my favorite success principles from Jack Canfield is drop out of the gosh, ain't it awful club. And if you find yourself hanging around with people that are gosh, ain't it awfuling, choose new people to hang around with so that you can see a different view that might give you more possibility. Because when I'm feeling low or down, that's Success Principles is the first book I go to, because even if I'm alone, there's 2 inches of inspiration about how to adjust my mindset so that I can realize that I cannot control what's going on in the world, but I can control how I respond to it and how I react to it and what it is that I'm going to do in service to how I can help right now. And so I think giving ourselves permission to build a moat around ourselves, hang out with newer, cooler, more optimistic people, and keep at arm's length from people that are trying to bring us down. Those are some good coping strategies that I would suggest.
I love that analogy of the moat, because right now our energy is everything. And, they say 6 feet for safety, for health reasons. But I think there's also a barrier for energy, being able to just protect ourselves right now and our energy. And so there's this tug of war, right? Where you want to hug people. Like, I'm going to give everybody a virtual hug right now because I miss you all, and so great to see your faces. And, I'm already projecting what life is going to look like on this other side of this, where I'm going to want to hug everybody, and yet there's this check in our spirit right now because we're being conditioned not to do that.
Yeah, well, let's give each other a virtual hug right now.
Virtual hug. Yeah, I love it.
And Marie is asking a question. What was the title of Jack Canfield's book? It's The Success Principles, how to get from where you are to where you want to be. And I was talking about aiming high and asking. Can I share an example of something that I took a shot at just as a point of inspiration?
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is your platform here.
Well, hopefully it's a conversation that's going to get everybody inspired about what's possible. But sometimes if we're trying to drop out of the gosh ain't it awful club, consider who you really want to talk to, like who you want to have dinner with, who you want to have lunch with, who living or dead would be like the greatest moment of your life kind of thing. And I'm a huge Oprah fan. You know, I would love to have dinner, lunch, tea, chocolate with Oprah any day of the week. But Jack Canfield's on the list too. And I thought to myself, I have had occasion to endorse and recommend products and services of other people in the past, and it has paved a path for me to make a fair amount of money endorsing products that I use myself. And I got to thinking the other day, thinking about possibilities. Who is the guru that I follow, that I trust, who I go to and have gone to since 2005? It's Jack Canfield. So last week, I summoned up the courage to write a letter to Jack Canfield, and I sent it to him and his chief financial officer. And I said, I know that the Success Principles is a breakthrough book that's made a huge difference in my life. And I also know that you're launching the workbook that is the companion piece to it right now. Would you consider allowing me to interview you and share your message with my entire tribe? I'm a huge fan. This is the backstory of how you made a difference in my life. This is the book that you actually signed with my name on it. I sent a picture of this to him.
That's great.
Where did it go? Right here. And what do you know? 2 days later, I get a call back from them. They'd say, Jack's thrilled to hear from you, and let's get something scheduled. So when you're daring yourself to reach out and do something bigger than you thought you should or that you might want to, who do you want to reach out to and what do you have to offer to them? Maybe they'll say yes. And when I do this interview with Jack Canfield, you know, the rising tide lifts all the boats. We all get interviewed by different people, and each of the people that is being interviewed, their stars start to shine a little bit brighter because of the company they're keeping. I just decided to go big time. You know what? Why don't you decide that too? Who awesome. In your world do you want to interview on Exceptional Connections who's playing a really big game that could help your star rise as Exceptional Connections goes global? Because now as we're virtual, there's no reason that you only have to do business with people in your own backyard. It's so exciting, don't you think?
Yes, it is. It's exciting times, and you know, frightening times, uncertain times, but at the same time, like you say, and a number of people on the chat line have responded that they really like what you said about a breakdown. You know, when you have a breakdown, you know a breakthrough is coming. If you have that mindset to prepare yourself, it's easier to ride that wave, you know, when doesn't look pretty.
And sometimes it doesn't look pretty. And can we just all nod our heads if we've had some unpretty moments lately?
Life can be messy.
Yeah, for sure.
But there's a message in the mess, right?
Yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah, in the midst of the mess, there's a message, there's something for us. And so, you know, you never know where that word's going to come from. For you, it was a dare from a friend, but look what it turned into. And it's not only that moment. I'm present to also when we experience things and they're breakthroughs for us, then later we can draw on those experiences to stabilize us, to encourage us and make us stronger.
Amen.
So there's so many pieces to that I love. So Nancy, I just really appreciated you being able to share with us your experiences on when you've been through challenging times and how it's helped you to be even stronger, more creative, more flexible. So share with us, you know, right now, how are you navigating these uncertain times? What are you drawing on from the past? And, you know, how can we encourage our, you know, the people that are on this line and those who are going to listen to the replay?
Excellent question. And I don't have all the answers. I just have my own experience and perspective. But one of the things that I do when things are in deep shift, like we are now in, a deep shift.
Yes.
I crack myself up sometimes, the things I say. Okay. Sometimes I'll get quiet. And what I will do is I will become a student of the offer. And what I mean by that is I will look at my inbox through new filters. We all have this great arbiter. It's known as the delete. We use our index finger to delete, delete, delete. Does anybody do that? Yeah?
Feels so good.
Yeah, and you start your day and you look at your inbox and you find yourself quickly deleting things because you don't want to waste your time, or there's something repelling or icky about these emails that you just don't want to have in your sphere any longer. One of the things that I've been doing is I've been stopping short of deleting and asking myself, what about this is repelling to me right now? And how can I show up as the opposite? And that's a really interesting mindset shift to take, because we can learn from what other people are doing. Sometimes you'll see these last chance ever to get on the boat to do this thing. Does you ever get any of those emails? Last chance, if you don't do it now, final hours, now is the only time. If you're not on the boat now, you're never gonna leave. And I've been really repelled by those invitations, especially during this window of time that we've been focusing on trying to navigate. And I'm thinking false urgency for false urgency's sake is just a miss for me, and I'm not going to do it, right? What else am I doing? I'm noticing the complaints and issues and concerns that people are sharing on Facebook and elsewhere. Like, for example, I posted last week on my Facebook page, what are the products, services, and programs you're going to be rushing to as soon as you get the all clear? And I think 56 people responded and told me what they were urgently going to go take care of. And like you're motioning, but let's get our hair done, for gosh sakes.
We're all pointing to our hair here.
We're getting hair. They want nails. They want massage. They want to go to a restaurant and drink a beer in a public place. And so when you ask your community, like, what are you rushing towards? What do you want? You can get a deep appreciation for where the opportunities are for you. Is there anything that people are wanting or needing that you could possibly respond to? And so, for example, one of the things that people need right now is masks. I placed an order for masks today, and it's going to be 21 days before these fashionable masks are going to show up at my doorstep.
Wow.
And what am I going to do in the meantime? My husband actually said to me this morning, Nancy, I don't want to be the person in the grocery store that has the dweeby mask. Can I please have a fashionable mask? I said, well, your wish is my command. I'll go online and find some cool masks for us. But so my point is, look at your email and your inbox and your Facebook feed through new filters and see what people are complaining about, wishing for, hoping for, and ask yourself if there's something that they're asking for, wishing for, or hoping for that you actually have a solution to. Because if you have it, you just might be able to invite people in to participate in it, and it would be a true act of service and contribution, to which there also might be some cash attached. Those are a couple of ideas.
Yeah, it's a carpe diem kind of a time in history.
Well, and I thought of one other thing too, Cyndi, that was really relevant for you. You know how you've been doing these live events and now you're doing virtual events, and I'm sure everyone can probably agree that figuring out the right price point to charge for any of the things that we do is sort of a big question mark. Do we have any amens on that? We're not quite
Amen,
sure.
Sister.
So sometimes what I'll do, and I was actually thinking of you this morning when I tuned into a very large online community, they're doing an online event and they have about 300 members. And they said for all of their members of record, they could attend their large event online for $1. And then, because they want them to have some skin in the game, but they don't want it to be a game changer for anybody or a quick no. And then they said, and when you invite, what did they say? When you invite 20 of your friends to also join us, and they will pay $47 to be a part of it, you will get to share in 50% of their fee for bringing the friend. Then they said, And if you bring 100 people to our online event, not only will you get that benefit, but you'll also get 3 minutes on stage to present anything you want to the entire audience that joins us.
Hmm.
And I thought, wow, this is so great, because what people want right now is to be seen and heard.
Yes.
You want to bring as many people as possible to the event. So what if these 300 members who paid $300 to be part of it, they all were really inspired by the opportunity to benefit from those additional ways to be seen? That could triple or quadruple or 10x the number of people that are going to be attending. And then when the people deliver so much value during the event that the people can't wait to take the next step with those people, let's just say they had a 4-figure tuition that they were charging. You only need a certain percentage of those hundreds of people to pay that small tuition for it to turn into really big money.
Right.
So I was thinking about you when so be a student of the offer, and not just about your own offers, but for the offers of the people you love and trust, because maybe they're looking for a lifeline. How can I charge for a virtual event? Who else is charging? I saw someone else do a sliding scale, 197, 97, 47, and pay what you can. And it was like, oh, for people who are really struggling, a pay what you can could mean $1.
Right.
It could be a total give back, but just offering the option, it just made me think there are lots of ways that people that are used to leading live events can turn to virtual events and have them serve and monetize, as long as it feels aligned and good to you without false urgency or ick factor,
Yes. Yes. I think, out of the box thinking is where we're at right now. And, the reality is there is no box. And so if that's the case, the sky's the limit. And I think it's great to be able to be flexible and creative and innovative right now for all of our businesses.
Yeah.
I love, this will date me, but I love those cartoons on Gumby. Remember, the little green guy?
Oh, Gumby. I remember Gumby. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, blessed are those who bend and do not break. So that's my hero right now is Gumby. Whenever I find myself getting a little too stiff or, feeling like I'm doing things in a way that, like, in the old world here before.
Don't knock the old school thing. Don't knock old school. I mean, picking up a phone and talking to somebody, answering your own phone, being present to someone when they're asking for your help. Yeah. That's a very refreshing way to stand out right about now, don't you think?
It is. And you know what? I've got to share a little story with you that maybe some of our listeners will chuckle at. So somehow along the way, I must have missed the memo that said before you call somebody, you have to text them or email them and schedule an appointment to talk to them. And so in the last couple years, months, I would call somebody, I'm thinking of them, and when I think of somebody, I pray for them or call them or send an email or text or something. And so I would call them and they're like, oh, now's not a good time. I'm just heading out the door. Or, now's not a good time. Let's schedule another time. And I started to feel like, okay, in the old days, we used to do that and people would be like, oh, it's been so long. So nice to hear from you. Well, the funny thing is with, our stay in place, shelter in place mandates, I'm calling people and they're happy to hear from me and they can talk.
Well, and how cool is that? I think
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Beautiful.
Isn't that fun? So anyway, that's just my little bit about, so you've kind of touched on it right now. Nancy, you talked about how some of our members have seen changes and they're trying to navigate all of this really without warning. Like, in one day, all of our paradigms shift and we're having to renegotiate it. And we don't know what's going to happen in the next 30, 60, 90 days, let alone 6 months. So, give us some other ideas for those, because we talked about, like, in my case, for Exceptional Connections, we have live meetings. I know Melissa Levine, she's with Leads Referral Network. She host meetings as well. So those of us who, you know, we needed to pivot and do virtual events or wait this out, which I didn't feel was the right move for me or our community. I want to be able to support us. But what about for those who have brick and mortar businesses? What would you recommend for them? You know, because it's tough right now. They really have to pivot in creative ways.
Well, if you're bricks and mortar, now is a perfect opportunity to consider how you can bring your business online. Someone I know has a yarn shop, and people come into the yarn shop to get their custom yarns, and they even come into the yarn shop to gather around the circle and knit together as a way for the gals to connect and share. But there is a woman somewhere in the Twitterverse or the cyberspace who had a yarn shop and decided to create yarn shop. It was like a project a month where people all around the country could buy this particular project. There was a pattern, there was the yarn, there was the instructions, there was the before and after picture, and she made these projects that she could sell, and she brought them online, and it 10x'd her business and also made it such that she didn't have to rely so much on foot traffic for her to do her business. So if you have bricks and mortar, what can you do to bring your business online? Can you sell products that people like, masks? Can you do delivery? My husband was telling me today that Chipotle just announced their first quarter earnings, and their first quarter earnings were through the roof because they quickly shifted to do takeout and delivery, and the whole world has been dining there. Same thing with the pizza companies. If you can't go online, I mean, they're all making it easy for you to order online and have things drop shipped to the curb or whatever it is. If you are not online, now's the time to learn how to get online. And that would be another thing I would say. If you don't know how to do any of this, you know, could you teach a course online? Could you create a Facebook community where your customers can gather to see the photos of the latest and greatest that's coming down the pike and pre-order? Could you, you know, there's so many things you can do. I don't have as much experience in the bricks and mortar world as I do in the online world, but I do think every single bricks and mortar is going to be well served to think about even something as simple as, are they offering some kind of a gift in exchange for an email address so that they can build an online community of customers to whom they can push offers and share stories and inspiration? Because if you don't have a list of people who have opted in to benefit from what's new and different in your firm, then you don't have an efficient way to share information with them about sales they can take advantage of, nonprofit initiatives that you're putting forth to make a difference, new products that you're introducing to respond to urgent problems that are now felt. And I'll tell you something, this whole idea of a list, let me just take a show of hands. Does anybody work on building their list every day electronically? Some people are and some people aren't. Well, I'll tell you something. When I had that first book, Bye Bye Boring Bio, at the time I had 1,085 opt-in subscribers, which by internet standards is very modest. But I remember someone saying, if you could have like 1,000 true fans, you should be able to have control over your destiny. You should be able to make money just communicating with your true fans. And when I wrote the book, I didn't know much about writing an online sales letter, and I didn't know how to, there's so much I didn't know. But I basically wrote this newsletter and I said, are you struggling to get clients in the aftermath of the Great Recession? Do you think having a better bio would make it easier for you to stand out and shine? I've written a book to help you with that. If you want to buy it, click here and do it. You know, I think I sold it for $27. And then I went out and walked the dog. And when I came back, I had all these sales. It was enough to pay the mortgage. It was a game changer for me. Wow. So having a list of fans and followers who are subscribed to your list gives you power to push information to them that can be of service. So as of today, I have 22,399 email subscribers. That's a lot for a small town girl. So if I need to make money and I feel aligned and good about my offer and I want to do something to make the cash register ring, I can just write to my newsletter list and say, are you struggling with this problem? I've been working on a solution for that. I think it's going to be really top quality, like I do everything I do. I wanted you to be the first to see it. Won't you check it out? And if they go there and like what they see, they just might decide to honor me with a purchase. So
Right.
if you don't have a list, you don't have the power to do that. So today is a good time to say, I declare that today's the day I'm going to get busy about building my list. And if you're not a writer and that's not your favorite thing, maybe video's your jam, because you could start a YouTube channel today and you could start posting videos of you speaking and sharing and contributing and being of value today. And you could start attracting subscribers from the world over that could one day become your clients, your customers, your champions, your advocates. And right about now, people love video because it allows you to create more of an instant connection with people that are afar. So consider if you have a bricks and mortar, why not create a YouTube channel? And if you don't know how, you can simply go to Google and type in how to start a YouTube channel, and it will explain step by step, even for non-techies like myself. Like, if I can do it, you can do it. That's what I would say.
You know, and thanks to your encouragement, yesterday I created an Exceptional Connections YouTube channel.
I saw that. Congratulations.
Yeah, and I posted 3 of our conversations to connect, and we'll actually put this one on there tomorrow. So I'm excited about that. But I want to.
Here's what's really cool about that. I just want to say,
Sure.
Because you've got this very well connected, well knit together community of raving fans within your 10-year-old Exceptional Connections world, right? But now the world just got a whole lot bigger. And when you share these conversations that connect on YouTube and you describe what was discussed below the video and you tell them, and here's how you can be part of the Exceptional Connections community,
Yeah.
They're going to come from YouTube to your Exceptional Connections online events, and you're going to go from this many people to this many people to this many people, and the world can be your oyster. I mean, isn't that exciting? I find that incredibly intoxicating.
It is. It's a beautiful thing. And I think it's important for us to reframe, you know, uncertain and challenging and scary times to the possibilities that are available to all of us right now. And be able to focus on that, because we are in unprecedented times when, you know, I mentioned this in another talk. So I've got Trisha on the line. She was one of my conversations to connect with Shauna and Marley. So we've had some wonderful conversations that are going to be posted, but you know, it's a reset button was pushed. So many times in my life, I've felt that I was like, missed the boat or too late, or, you know, darn, my timing wasn't right. And right now I feel like, you know what? The whole world just is on reset. We're all in our corners right now.
Well, and so this is another thing that I want to say that's sort of cool. That's we may be in our corners, but the world is at our feet. And so
beautiful.
Here's an idea.
Wordsmith. We're in our corners, but the world is at our feet.
It so is. So has this ever happened where you see someone on your Facebook feed say something like, I was honored to be featured on the ABC podcast. I'd be so thrilled if you listened. And usually what happens after that is you get a long string of congratulations, kudos, way to go, so glad you're being seen in this way, which is a lovely thing to do.
Yeah.
But here's the next thing to do. If that person does business in a similar niche to you, you might listen to the podcast and ask yourself, could I add value to this podcast? Do I have something to say that would serve these listeners? And am I inspired to reach out to the host to pitch myself as a guest to add value to that conversation? And you know what? When you do that, you'd be surprised how often the podcast host reaches back to you and says, what a brilliant suggestion. I would love to have you on the show. Won't you please fill out the paperwork and we'll get this party started? Right. I do this all the time. So there was someone on the call earlier who's working with midlife women to help them find their better jobs.
Maria,
if you're still here, go to Google and search the top 10 podcasts for midlife women. And then while you're multitasking and doing your life, listen to these podcasts and ask yourself, would you be proud to be on the podcast? You can go to the podcast website, and usually there's this tab that says be on the show, and read what's required. And if you're excited about being on the show, remember, it isn't about how you can sell more stuff. It's what 5 points of view can you share that would add value to the audience and position you as an expert who has something to say about it. And usually at the end of the podcast, they'll say something like, and tell me, Maria, where would you like us, how can our listeners get in touch with you to learn more about finding joy in our midlife career? And that's when you have the opportunity to say, please go get my Find Your Joy Career Reset report right here, and I can't wait to chat with you later, or here's how you can call me or something. But what if everyone who was on this call today decided to get inspired to share their perspectives on a podcast? And you started doing one podcast right after the other. Then the whole world would start to know about you, and you'd lasso them back and bring them back to your world. And you just might have a whole new community of people that you can invite to your events, participate in your courses, your training, your professional services. It's very empowering. So Jack Canfield says, when he was creating the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, this was before it became the best, most read book of all time. He said, what did he say? Practice the rule of 5. Every day, do 5 things to advance towards your goal, and pretty soon your goal will be achieved. It's like taking 5 swipes of an axe to a big tree. If you keep on hitting the tree, it's essentially the tree will come down. And so I decided that during this pandemic, I'm going to see how many virtual platforms I can speak to in a leveraged way, so that I could share my message and inspire more people and whatever. But here's the other thing that's kind of exciting. I know I'm like drinking from a fire hose. Do you want to nod your head and agree to that?
No, keep it up. This is great.
But here's the thing that's super exciting about it. When you're on a call like this and you deliver value and you're enthusiastic and you delivered what you promised, there just might be someone on this call who's a person of influence who's going to invite you to be on their program. And one good thing leads to another, and all of a sudden it seems like you're everywhere all at once, and you never even left your office. The world is at your feet thanks to podcasting. Who's excited about podcasting? I see some hands. So that's something a bricks and mortar or anyone else can do to bring the world to their feet and share content, perspectives, practical suggestions, and most importantly, one call to action to bring them back to where they want them to go.
Right. Beautiful. I love it. Thank you so much.
So Marley is asking, so can I send people to the YouTube to see the video? Yes, of course you can. It's already posted, Marley. I was there earlier today. Your video is posted on the Exceptional Connections YouTube channel. And you might want to post the YouTube channel link in the chat so people can go and rush and subscribe.
Oh, yes. We'd love that. That would be wonderful. So after I was going to do upload yours, I was going to ask people to help us to get our vanity URL. So we can actually, once you get 101 subscribers, then you can actually take that gobbledygook number off and be able to put Exceptional Connections on there. So
let's just take a poll. Who on this call is willing to post in the chat, I can't wait to subscribe to the Exceptional Connections YouTube channel?
Aw,
let's do that.
So yeah, it's a work in progress, but I'm excited to be able to,
So just for fun, and don't laugh at me, but I'm the girl of imperfect action. I'm going right now to YouTube, okay? Imperfect action taken instantaneously is a beautiful thing. Exceptional Connections on YouTube. I'm looking for it. I'm just going for it right now. Just bear with me, everybody. This is how it's done. Exceptional, there it is. Exceptional connections. Oh, there it is. What do you know? I'm going to subscribe right now, and then I'm going to take this link and I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to come back to the Zoom call that we are doing right now. Oh, let's see. Where did you go? Did I lose you? Oh my God, I hope not.
That's okay. No, you're there.
No, here it is. There it is. Paste.
Okay, I was just
There it is, everybody.
You beat me to the punch. So
Why wait till tomorrow to do what you can do right now?
Yeah, five subscribers already. Yay! We broke the one hand.
Yay. First there was 5, and then there was 10, and then there was 100, and then it grew from there. And
you have to start someplace, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm committed to building my infrastructures, things that I've been wanting to do for a while, but we got too busy, the tyranny of the urgent. And now there is the opportunity to be able to take care of things off. And who likes to check things off of the list? I love lists. It makes me feel good. That's the other reason I like deleting things from my email, because it makes me feel like I'm accomplishing something, cleaning things up. So that was fun. Nancy, thank you. So I want to be able to ask you about how you found creative ways to successfully navigate through the Great Recession, because we can learn a lot from things that we've experienced in the past. So do you have a story? I know you and I talked, and you had a number of stories that can illustrate and give you inspiration and others for going forward.
Yes, I have a story for you to share about that. When the Great Recession happened, the bottom dropped out, and I saw this on a podcast. Do you have one avenue of revenue? Isn't that a fun turn of phrase? Do you have one avenue of revenue, or do you have multiple streams of revenue?
I love that.
So when the Great Recession happened, I had a public relations agency, and it fell apart overnight through no fault of my own. And it was incredibly disempowering. And I thought to myself, I don't want to be beholden to just one avenue of revenue and have the bottom drop out and not be able to turn on a dime. And it was mostly fear-based, I'm going to confess. I mean, when you're stuck in that can't pay the bills place, the conversations you have in your family are very awkward. There's a lot of conflict in the family. It's you know what I'm talking about, I'm guessing. At one point or another, you've experienced it. I didn't want that anymore. So I created 5 streams of revenue: fees, teas, JVs, products, and speaking. Fees referred to professional service fees for public relations or done-for-you work. Teas referred to intimate events I called publicities, where we would gather over tea and chocolate and conversation, and I teach people about marketing and public relations.
I was at one of those.
Yeah, those were so much fun. So fees, teas, JVs are joint ventures where I would gladly promote the products of successful people whose products I had bought myself. Fees, teas, JVs, products, these are products I created myself, like Bye Bye Boring Bio, and my own group training programs and whatever else I built. And then speaking. And speaking was either being paid to speak, like a keynote speaker, or doing speak to sell, where I was invited to come to someone's event and deliver content and sell something as my way of getting paid. So fees, teas, JVs, products, and speaking. So it was 5 spokes on the revenue generation wheel, and I tried to stir every one of them every day, for fear that if one of them fell apart, I would still have money coming in. And it required a lot of hustle on my part to do all of that, but I had a lot of hustle in me because we had responsibilities that I needed to rise up to meet. And what do? You go the extra mile because it's required. So maybe that's an idea for you to consider, is like, could you create a book, a product, some kind of an item that you could sell, like a mask even. Doesn't even have to be relevant to what you do right now, but as a main area of expertise. But if you're really good with sewing and you think you can create masks very quickly that would be fashionable and wonderful, it could be a way to hedge your bets when things get tough.
So I'm going to interject real fast because when we had a conversation, I love that you said, and I think this is important to share with our listeners to encourage them. Right now, there is no shame. There is no in doing a side hustle, right? So you're talking about different multiple streams of income, being creative, but
Yeah.
what if you have to do something that has nothing to do with your primary business right now?
Well, then you just go ahead and do it.
Just do it. This is,
I mean, this, you don't laugh, please don't laugh, but I have a side hustle. It's called the Very Important Pup Hotel. And I look after people's pups where their parents travel the world, and I treat them like kings and queens, and I get paid to do it. And I started this business 4 years ago when my son went off to college, and it wasn't because I needed the money. It was because I needed an escape from online marketing. And I love dogs. I was missing my kid. I saw a need and I decided to fill it. That Very Important Pup Hotel brings 5 figures of revenue to my business every year. And I just get to love on these dogs, and take care of them. It's fun for me. My husband thinks I'm crazy, but it has nothing to do with getting known and getting paid or getting ready for opportunity before it knocks. It has nothing to do with any of that. It's just something I like to do because it makes me happy.
It brings you joy.
Yeah. And so let's, the woman that was just there, whose name, what was her name? The midlife woman.
Maria.
Yeah. So side hustle. I mean, if you need to check groceries at the grocery store so you can pay the bills, if you need to, don't give yourself a hard time. If there's no shame in getting a job. And speaking of getting a job, that's a nice little segue. LinkedIn is the most robust platform today for finding career opportunities. And there are many people who may find themselves in need of finding a new contract gig or a retainer, or maybe even a conventional job. If you have not yet updated your LinkedIn profile to reflect what's true for you today, I do have a training I did with a LinkedIn expert. It's posted to my YouTube channel, and she shared the 5 best ways that you can update your LinkedIn profile to show up as a true professional. And it was generously shared. You can go to my YouTube channel and watch it. But I promise you, if you do, that's one of those work from home projects you can take on today and to start feeling really confident about how you're showing up and letting people know the kinds of opportunities that you want to pursue. Because the average income of people on LinkedIn is like $20,000 higher than the income of the average person on Facebook. The money is over on LinkedIn, and the salaries are over on LinkedIn. And if you need to go get a job, learn how to show up on LinkedIn like a pro, and that training that I generously provide, no fee, just go get it. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'd be really glad if you did that. But that's very empowering, because we can all dust off what we are showing up to be more relevant, more current, more of service. And it seems like now is a good time to do that.
Absolutely. So a couple of things. So Nancy, is your YouTube channel just your name?
You can search for me on YouTube by Nancy Juetten. It's called The Publicity. That's my Gmail address. But Nancy, you'll find me. I have, as of yesterday, not that this is such a big deal or anything, I have 142 subscribers. And I've just recently decided that I love doing videos. So I've been just doing spontaneous videos whenever I feel called to serve and be generous. And if you go there, you'll see that there's plenty to learn, and it's all free. So I hope you'll do that.
So that your YouTube is Nancy. I've got a question.
I'm gonna find it for you, because that's the kind of gal I am.
Yeah. So post it in the comments, in the chat, and also the LinkedIn.
It's actually on my YouTube channel.
YouTube also.
It's on my YouTube channel. It's an interview with me and Deborah Mathias.
Okay.
And I'm just finding the link right now. Copy. Stop the video. Okay, coming back. I'm coming back. This is my YouTube channel. And I'm posting it right there, the publicity.
Okay, awesome. And then your
so this is a big idea. And
sorry.
I didn't get to it, but fees, T's, JVs, products, and speaking. Think back to what you did after the Great Recession. How did you dig out of it? Those were the ways I dug out of it. When you figure out the ways you dug out of it, ask yourself, is it time to dust off any of those ways and refresh them to be relevant for what we're dealing with right now? Because you might get a bright idea about how you can navigate out of this challenge that we find ourselves in and actually already be in the catbird seat, you know? Like, I'll give you an example. We used to meet around the conference table with tea and chocolate and talk about publicity and marketing. It was very intimate and connected, and I loved doing it. And so I thought my bright idea was, why don't I bring the publicity gatherings back and share the virtual tools that were part of it as a gift for when you register. And then I can still do publicities virtually and talk to a worldwide audience. And I think way back then I was charging $300 for the day. And people walked away with so much value and so many actionable strategies. And they walked away with Bye Bye Boring Bio, and they walked away with my publicity tips booklets. And it was super fun. And so I'm thinking, why not bring it back? Put a new spin on it, make it virtual. But if I loved doing it then, would I love doing it now? And could it serve even more people? Because we now have the benefit of the virtual world out there that we can lasso back to be part of our, so that's something I'm going to dust off and probably bring back, because it brings me joy and it keeps me in my zone. And I think the more we can be in our zone, the more we can serve.
Yes, I love that. You know, really that's what you're saying is coming full circle. And I've had a number of conversations with a number of people on this, even on this call today. And we keep coming back to that theme of things that we've experienced or skills that we've learned in the past. We can actually bring those forward into the present. And the Cyndi today is so much more confident than the Cyndi in my 30s. And when I was, navigating some of those skills and tools and experiences. So I think we can be so much more empowered by allowing ourselves to come full circle and really utilize the things that we've learned in the past, be able to bring them into the present and be able to breathe new life into them.
Yeah, beautiful.
So thank you for that. So Jack Canfield, you mentioned you were going to interview him. When is that going to happen so we can?
We're still working it out, but
okay.
I'll happily tell you when that happens.
Let me know, and we'll announce it to our community so we can support you. And
that would be so great. I would ask you, who do you want to interview that's like several leagues above the sea that would be a dream come true? I mean, if we could just take care of our mindset to surround ourselves, like Oprah says, with people who lift us higher, then higher we will soar. If we hang around with the Gosh Ain't It Awful Club, we're going to be cackling with the turkeys, and that's not much fun.
Yeah. I've always heard, and that's always, been a reminder to me, you are the sum part of or something like that, that you are the sum total of the five people you spent the most time with.
Yeah.
So it's, that's been around for a long time. It's a good reminder for today. So we're at the 1 hour point, and I'm going to just bring things full circle here before we open it up for Q&A. So I hope you guys have been taking notes. Or at least be able to enter into our conversation or share the epiphanies or ahas that made a difference for you. So before we do that, Nancy, tell our listeners how they can learn more about you and what you do.
Well, I'd like to offer a gift. Remember earlier we were talking about how cool it would be to be on a podcast and everybody was waving their head and saying, I wanted that, I want that, I want that. You need to prepare your message before you pitch. So go to sizzlingspeakersheet.com and download my sassy sizzling speaker sheet template so that you can write your bio, what your message is, why you're the best available athlete to speak about this, how people can book you. I will post it in the chat so you can see it. Tens of thousands of people, speakers, authors, and experts have downloaded this before you, and used it as a way to feel really confident about how they share their message when they make their pitches. And I'm confident it will help you. And if I'm going to break my own rule and offer 2 calls to action. If you have not gotten your personal financial information and crucial documents organized before something random or crazy can stop you, can we agree that now would be a good time to do that? So when you go to lifegoesonroadmap.com, you can download the Get Your Act Together, Getting Started template, which will help you start your scavenger hunt for all the important things you need to have at the ready in case you need to pivot when the rubber meets the road in real life. This will be a game changer for you. When life happens as it's happening for us right now, better to have your big girl underpants around your waist than around your ankles. So please go get that. And if you feel inspired, won't you share it with 10 other people who need it right now? Because we're on a mission to help people get their act together before life hits a bump in the road. And our bigger mission with Life Goes On Roadmap is for the system, the bigger system we share, to be shared by banks and credit unions and big, huge organizations that offer it to their clients as a way to help deepen relationships with their most important clients. So when you learn about it, you might find that you know people that you need to introduce me to help make that pitch. And if you do, I would love to hear from you.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your generosity, Nancy, not only in those gifts, but also of your time in sharing with our community and being able to, you know, give us encouragement on this journey of ours that we're all on together, and we can all be the better for it. So I've been endeavoring to unmute people so that you can chime in. You may have to unmute yourself because in some cases I'm not able to do that. And if you have ambient noise in the back, you're welcome to mute yourself. But feel free to, you know, share your epiphany, your aha with Nancy, as well as any questions, or if you want to just enter into this conversation.
I have a question.
Trisha, all the way from Texas.
Hi.
Hi.
Nance, this question, I had a conversation with someone this morning actually about experts. And she was on the one side, she's all about, you know, taking all the advice that experts give, which I think that we should. But how important is it to for experts to sometimes live outside of the box from what they know book-wise to being street-wise in terms of taking advice from experts, because sometimes experts are in a box and that's all they know. They're book smart, but we're facing, you know, unprecedented times. So how important is it for experts to sometimes think outside of the box to solve unconventional problems, or do you think they need to stick to the books?
Wow, that's a really interesting question, Trisha. I think that experts are committed to lifelong learning and growing their skills and talents, and true experts are going to know what they know and what they don't know, and I think those are the ones that you can trust. When somebody says they know it all, I think that's the opportunity we have to think twice about whether that expert is someone we want to follow. You know, this brings up to mind something else too. I see Chuck Ockford's cat is crossing his keyboard. When you
they
buy
hate
something,
when I'm on Zoom. They hate it. They do anything to get me off.
You know, alignment with your head, your heart, and your gut. You know when something is a yes for you, and you also know when it's a no for you. And just because someone claims to be an expert, if they're recommending a course of action that for some reason feels misaligned for you, trust your gut and do what you think is right. Because we don't need a world of lemmings following some unknown leader leading us to the edge to drop off. We need people who have discernment.
Yes.
Can you discern whether or not that is true and smart and real and good? And if it feels like it, you can proceed. And if it doesn't, no is a good answer. I hope that answers your question.
Well, it just one example that came to mind when we were having this discussion this morning was when Captain Sully, brought the plane down in the
Hudson River.
River. And if he would have listened to the experts that was in the control tower telling him to land the plane at the airport, it would have killed 155, people. So that's why I was asking this question, because sometimes as experts, we have to be discerning as well as have critical thinking, even though other experts are telling us something, our gut feeling tells us to do something else.
I completely agree with you. And, if you've had any time on the planet and experience like Sully, he'd flown for 40 years. He knew the plane inside and out. He knew the circumstances, and he did the right thing and saved those souls. So discernment is what I would say. And I think we all need to practice that right about now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I think that
Right now, more than
experts
ever.
don't always have, situational awareness. So they're often giving advice from maybe an arm's length away. So situational awareness, I think, is really important, especially in the case of an airline pilot.
Right. Here's something else, and I don't know if I'm going to get myself into trouble for saying this or not.
You're good.
We're all looking for solutions to urgent problems that are deeply felt. And there may be some gurus coming towards you that are extending very high value offers and positioning them such that if you do not do it, you're not going to be equipped with whatever you need to navigate the storm. And you might start to feel some kind of pressure or manipulation or any kind of weirdness that you might feel, like if I don't do this, then I'm never going to get on the boat. Please just take a breath and do the right thing for yourself in these situations. Don't feel pressured into spending money you don't have to do something you don't know how to do. Just use your judgment, your very best judgment, because I would hate to have people investing into things and not seeing them through and looking back on their time during the pandemic of saying, I woulda, coulda, shoulda, or I wish I wouldn't have, or whatever. Make sure your head and your heart and your gut are screaming yes on every level when you make a decision. And then I would also say one other thing that's sort of relevant to this. In order for this economy of ours to keep moving, there needs to be the exchange of energy between the parties. I decided I wanted to learn to get my LinkedIn game on. So number one, I asked to interview an expert so that I could share generously with my community and learn things new. And then I decided to invest in her LinkedIn training because I wanted to become more masterful. Because I believe that because I invested the money to do the LinkedIn training, that there's someone out there that will likely want to invest in something that I have to offer. If we don't give and share and invest in things that mean something to us, we're not setting the stage for the money to come back to us in some like manner. And this brings me to one other topic, which I think is really important. And Cyndi and I talked about it yesterday. It's this idea of sustainable generosity.
Yes.
Sometimes we just give. There's this book, The Giving Tree, and the tree gives everything to the boy, and pretty soon the boy's sitting there on the stump and he's just totally expired. I'm not sure the story is really that great when you think about it in those terms. But give, and also put a value on what you do so that people will appreciate the value and want to keep coming back. Because if we keep on giving, and we don't assign a value to what we're doing, that's not sustainable. which is why earlier in the call I was suggesting to Cyndi all these cool ideas about how live events are monetizing. Because I think when you get to be part of a community like Exceptional Connections and you show up every month and you create relationships and you link arms with these people, there's value in these relationships that you're creating. Is it worth it to you to invest something to be part of this community, even though you're not leaving your house? I would venture to say the answer would be, hell yeah. So
Yeah.
just sustainable generosity. Give back to those who give so generously to you. The law of karma is going to work out if you just believe in it, I think.
And that aligns with the law of contribution. So the law of contribution states the level of your success and happiness is in direct proportion to the number of people you serve selflessly. So I love that, you know, what you were sharing and contribution. I think the caution is to not to let go of any expectations. So when we have an agenda or expectations, I think that's what we were talking about, flow in our conversation earlier. That's what stops the flow. So we want to keep that going and know that we're planting seeds. We're watering those seeds. We're tending to those seeds, which are essentially, you know, we can use the analogy of relationships, not knowing where that relationship's going to go, but trusting that that process is going to have you reap a harvest, right? And there's statements that people make like, out of the blue, Oprah called me, right? Or out of the blue, you know, I got this message from Jack Canfield, or whatever. The out of the blue statements, whenever anybody makes those, I'm always like curious. Like, I'd love to hear about all the things you did selflessly to support other people, you know, sustained generosity that has that happen out of the blue. Because I don't believe out of blue. I believe it's just you serve, you nurture, you support, you bless, and then it's not a tit for tat. It's not me doing something for you, Nancy, you doing something for me. There's this expectation, there's this agenda. It's you just plant those seeds, serve people, and good things happen when you do.
That's right.
I love that. Happen. Well, and you know, in like find, sometimes you'll run into people where you don't feel that, whatever you're just describing. It's sort of like that, if the glove doesn't fit, you must not commit. You know, you meet somebody and you just go, you know, I don't want to make not my people my people. You know,
I have a word for that. My husband and I, because we teach for those of you who have not been a part of Exceptional Connections in our community, I'd invite you to join us. Go to Exceptional-Connections, join our Facebook page. I'll tell you at the end of this call about more opportunities. But the fun thing is when you are able to support somebody, when you're able to help them, when you're able to be of service to them, it always comes back to you, right? And, oh, I forgot my thought. Okay.
We were talking about not making not your people your people.
Right. Okay. So lost it. Don't you hate when that happens? That goes to show you I'm not a talking head. I'm a real person with a brain that just went boom.
Are there other questions that people want to ask?
Yeah, it'll come back to me.
I just want to welcome Michelle Kinsley, who we just met today, and I invited her, and here she is. So, hi, Michelle.
Thanks for joining us. So you're from Texas, Michelle?
No, I'm from Pennsylvania.
Oh, look at that. We've got a Pennsylvania representative.
I also wanted to people post in the chat what state they're calling in from. That would be interesting, don't you think?
I live in 2 states. I live in Tennessee too.
Oh,
fun.
Yeah.
I wanted to give a shout out to Dashina. She came on. I met her about 3 years ago at a conference and I just invited her this morning. So thanks so much for hopping on.
Thank you so much for the invite. My heart is just full because there's so much that I didn't know. And you had just even reaching out to me this morning to suggesting that I start doing my videos live was just so very insightful. And then for you to invite me to join in this presentation, it's just so about what you guys were talking about giving, about being generous, about investing in others, and it comes back to you. And I'm about to cry, y'all, because like when you don't know, and there are those who are willing to teach you and to guide you, and your heart is what I'm doing. I'm a physical therapist, and I'm moving from working in facilities to being a motivational speaker to talk to people about stress-less living so that they can reduce their risk of having strokes. And so I know, like during these days where people are so stressed out, that this is the time. So I've been trying my best to move forward and to do what I know to do, but there's so much I don't know how to do. So just like in my messenger, Roshana just reached out to me, and what happened was that I posted a motivational video from a year ago that blessed me when on Facebook, they show you your memories. And I was looking at the video and I was like, oh, that blessed me. So I'm gonna just post it again. And then she saw it, and then she messaged me and she's saying, why don't you do this? And I can help you. And that's what it's about, y'all. Being available, reaching out and helping others. And in return, we'll benefit from it. But I am just so thankful for every one of you, and especially for Roshana.
Oh, that's so lovely. Why don't you post a link to your video in the chat here so that it can live on and we can watch it?
Okay, absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
You were invited by somebody else, and on faith.
And now there's tears flowing. It's so nice to see this happening. It's so good.
It's a beautiful tears. Okay, so I remembered my thought. So we're talking about how sometimes you don't connect with somebody, right? So at Exceptional Connections, we teach the connection circle. We teach the importance of connecting, discovering, listening. And when you set that foundation in building a relationship, then and only then you earn the right to be able to contribute to that person. And then you'll want to follow up and nurture that relationship. And that's a circle, right? That's a sustainable generosity. That's a circle that you create. And you don't make it around the circle with everybody. There's some people that you meet them in an elevator, you meet them at a grocery store, you're passing, and this is the point I want to make that you were talking about, Nancy, where relationships don't always develop into bosom buddies or, kindred spirits or good friends or people you do business with. So there's a concept that I've been experimenting with and had conversations with Chuck and my husband and other friends. It's called click. So does anybody relate to this? So you connect with somebody and it can happen in 30 seconds. And something magical happens and there's a click, right? Yeah. And that's when it's like, wow, I feel like I've known you forever. I feel like you know me. I feel like we're connecting at this amazing level. And so I think right now more than ever, we're looking for, as humans, we crave connection. We crave relationships. Right now we're being separated physically, and we're having to seek out those connections, virtually or on the phone. I had a real nice conversation with my daughter in Boston this morning. And so I think to look for, I can't wait to the next connection that's gonna click, because it feeds, when we have that, it's mutual, right? Usually it's mutual. Usually you feel that connection to them, they feel a connection with you. And my husband does Lyft driving as one of his, side gigs. He's the part of the gig economy that's had some challenges in recent days. But he said there were times that he'd have a passenger, and they would instantly click. And then the next time that passenger was there, it didn't happen. Or sometimes it grew. So it's an organic thing. Relationships are organic, and we need to feed them. We need to nurture them. And anyway, that's my word for the day. Click.
Love that.
We want to attract relationships that click.
So just curious, for those who are with us still, we've got 13 folks on a scale of 1 to 10 being 1, this was not a good use of my time, and 10 being, I'm so glad I'm here. would you like to make a comment in the chat so we know whether we've served you and met your expectations?
Or chime in and share what you're, you know, if there's an epiphany or an aha that really you can use to support you going forward.
All of you.
And then if there's any other questions, bring them on.
You should ask.
I double booked myself and I had to make a decision. Which one do I go to? And I said, no, I've got to go to ECN, you know, even though the other one was really important, but I knew that they would have a recording. But I just felt like I needed to be with people today, with wonderful people that I know is, you know, we're going to be here. And also, Nancy, I mean, I always love your wisdom. You have incredible wisdom, and you speak in such a way that I resonate with. So thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
Marley.
I just wanted to say, Nancy, it was over the top. I wouldn't give it a 10. I'd go beyond that. And it's interesting. It's interesting because I was looking through an old journal this morning and I'm like, wow, this is good. This needs to go out. And so my mind was percolating before this, and I had an idea on how to tap into what I did last week and take it another step. And I'm like, wow, Cyndi, I just want to say thank you for putting this on YouTube, because not everybody has Zoom and can go there. So this was really, really, really wonderful. And I appreciate both of you women. And it's good to see Trisha from Texas.
Very good.
So Marley's talk last week was on deep stillness creates the space for creativity. And I'd encourage any of you to go to our YouTube page, our brand new, spanking new YouTube page, and listen to the replays that we've done in the past couple weeks. So anybody else want to share before we wrap up here about their experience with this platform, with Nancy's talk? Any notes that you have that you want to share, something that's going to feed and sustain you in the coming days here, help motivate you to take action?
I was going to think of that.
Anybody have?
I want to hear from Melissa.
Melissa.
Oh, well, Nancy and I have been playing phone tag, trying to get together. So I was like, oh, this is awesome that I got to know you. So that's exciting.
Well, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. This is a great way for us to meet.
Yeah, right. It's perfect. She's like, I'm booked solid. I'm like, okay. But I loved what you said about just, honoring that time to just cry, be depressed. Okay. Have that, but then just get on with it. Right.
Yeah.
I didn't write that down. Did you put that in it was like, what was that? Was that the beginning?
I said something that I did. I said at the beginning that it's okay, because so many times people are saying, what offer are you going to make? What offer are you going to make? What are you going to sell today?
Yeah.
Really successful people are always making offers. And my whole point is, if it doesn't feel right to be making an offer today, for whatever reason, think about why that is and see if there's something you can learn from that. And, sometimes really great ideas take a little while to percolate, just like a really good stew or a really good recipe. It doesn't happen like pour it out of the can and we're done. Maybe you're supposed to go inward to think about what you really want to do and who you really want to do it for and what's going to be special and different about how you do it that's going to be an answer to a prayer right now. So if you don't feel ready to make an offer, don't. But be mindful that some offer is going to come, because that's how you're going to stay in business and how you're going to serve. And in the meantime, can you be of contribution like we're doing here today? Like Dorshina is going to get to share her video, and we're going to get to watch and see what an aspiring speaker with a big message that she has to share. And Melissa and I are going to have a juicy conversation probably tomorrow about what we can do together. And, who knows what it is, but be of contribution.
Yes.
If you can't make an offer, the world isn't going to stop spinning because you didn't sell something this very minute.
Right. And I'd like to acknowledge Melissa. So I've been wanting to get to know Melissa for a while. I've seen her, you know, Facebook pages and her speed networking events that she's been doing. And a member of our community, Linda Treadway, I believe it is, she invited Melissa and she came to our meeting. And then after that, we had a Zoom call. And I clicked with this woman. I just think she's just amazing. You know, we both have the same desire and heart to support our community, to have people connect. And then we collaborated. So we decided, what can we do to bring our communities together, to be of service? And so Nancy, when you came to our first virtual meeting, well, we did the breakouts and Nancy acknowledged me for that. Well, I learned that from Melissa. So we did a mixer. We did a mixer together, and we invited Exceptional Connections and Leads Referral Network to a free opportunity, and Melissa led the way and put us in breakout rooms. And so we can learn from each other. We can support each other, even though we have businesses that in some ways you would think are competing, but it's not. To me, it's collaboration and being able to really take things to the next level. Because in many cases, you know, Melissa, you just pivoted to virtual as well, right?
I did, yeah. And I had been wanting to actually do it before this all happened, actually, because I had so many contacts with people, like, for instance, stay-at-home moms who had businesses and they can't get away to go to a networking event, or, you know, people who have disabilities and they're limited to getting out. So this just like pushed me to do it. It forced me to do it. And I'm grateful for that, because I probably wouldn't be doing it quite yet, honestly,
Yeah.
because.
So that sort of is a really nice segue to, you might be keeping a victory log of blessings that have unfolded for you during this challenge, because bringing your events online, getting to collaborate with new people that have been on your radar but you haven't yet cemented the relationship with, getting to do an interview with someone around the world on a land you've never stepped foot. The world is really available to all of us in all kinds of ways that are truly blessings and new opportunities that can turn into great big revenue streams if we just put our heads down to think about how that's going to be true for us. And I just want you to think about what will be true and good for you so that you can go off and do it in community with people that are your people, right?
I love that. Well, thank you, everyone. And thank you, Nancy, for joining us today for Conversations to Connect. So next Wednesday, so I'll just tell you the schedule. We're offering 3 complimentary events that you can participate in. And so we do Monday, Resource Monday, virtual tea from noon to 1. If you go to Exceptional-Connections on our Facebook page, you can see the different offerings. Next Wednesday, we'll be doing a Conversation to Connect with Amanda Goff, and she's from the Vancouver area and just a brilliant, amazing soul who's going to be a spotlight speaker for us in May as well. And then on Fridays, we do virtual happy hour. So bring your wine or beverage of choice. In fact, Nancy and I collaborated and we're old-time soft rock fans, James Taylor, Carly Simon. And so we did there's You've Got a Friend. And so we did our own version of You've Got This Friend.
By the way, I have the lyrics and everything posted to my Facebook. And if you're feeling compelled to sing along, you can find me on Facebook, but there's the instrumental version of You've Got a Friend, and then there's the lyrics up above. And how does it go? Let us see.
Oh, we don't want to sing it now.
Send me Zoom, Facebook Live, or chat. It's really just as simple as that.
We had a great time. So
I'll be there.
Yeah.
You've got this friend.
A hoot and a half.
It was a hoot and a holler.
A hoot and a holler. And then on Tuesday, we meet the second Tuesdays, and we pivoted from live events in the Woodinville, Washington area. And then we also offer a second Thursday networking in Vancouver area. but we're combining the two chapters right now, and just bringing the world into Exceptional Connections, inviting them to join us as well. So our next virtual event is on Tuesday, May 14th. Did I get that right? Second Tuesday in May. So we talked about, I'm just going to close with something fun. We've got to timestamp this YouTube video, right?
It's May 12th.
Today, it's May 12th. Okay, May 12th for our next networking luncheon. But today is Wednesday, April 22nd, 2020. And right now, social distancing is going on in the world. The world is on lockdown. And so just to put perspective for those of you who are listening to this replay later on, and we walk around, believe it or not, in post offices and banks and grocery stores looking like this. And it's okay. And people don't arrest us. So someday we will laugh at this, right? And we'll think, can you believe we had to do that? And then just as a little offering to everybody, Nancy said that she just bought some masks. So Nancy, in the meantime, I got a little tip for you guys. For those of you who are on here, you get a little bonus. So how many of you have scarves that look like this around the house? Right? Little cotton scarves. I know that Trisha does. If you need a scarf, go to Trisha with Pop Accessories. So just here's a little tip for you guys. If you need one fast and furiously, it's cotton. I wash it after each time I go out. Fold it in half, and I don't have the camera set up so I could do this. Fold it in half again, but don't have it all the way down to the seam. Just leave a little lip there. And then get yourself to these little hair ties.
Oh, yeah.
I would recommend rubber bands because they hurt your ears. But now I've folded it like in quarters again. I like to fold it one more time and just stick your rubber band on each end. And then just fold it. I open it up. This is kind of awkward, but I open it up and I fold it down. And then there's the loop. And then fold it down and there's the loop. And then open it up and put it on your ears and you've got a little mask. So it works. I usually wear glasses on top of it so it holds this part down. Or you can wear this on top of another mask.
Thank you. That's so helpful because our fashionable golden retriever and denim masks will be here for another 14 days.
Yeah, so I like that because it's something that, I do sew, but I don't want to sew right now. I've got a lot of other things I'm doing. And it's fast and furious. And then for those who don't know how to sew or can't have access to it, it's a great way to be able to have something. So
I don't want it.
Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you,
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Lovely to meet all of you.
It's been wonderful to have you and look forward to having you be a part of our community. And thank you again in advance for liking our YouTube channel. Bye-bye, guys. Take care.
See everybody.
Bless you, everybody. Take care. Be safe.
Thank you, Cyndi. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.